From the Center for the Study and Teaching of Writing at The Ohio State University, this is Writer's Talk. I'm Doug Dangler. I'm here at the 2013 Ohioana Book Festival with Karen Harper, who is not only a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author, but also a former English instructor at The Ohio State University. So welcome back.
Thank you, Doug.
Sure, and we talked several years ago about some of your books at the time.
And a lot has happened since, I'll bet.
So fill me in. You've got the newest book is Finding Mercy, the finale in the Home Valley Amish trilogy.
Yes, I've actually done 8 books set among the Ohio Amish that are heavy on suspense, little romance thrown in, but really, I think, reveal the fascinating culture of these people. And they're perfect for suspense because they don't basically trust law enforcement. You can't run away from the bad guy in the buggy. You don't have good lights at night. There's all kinds of reasons, and they live isolated lives, so they fit very well for mystery and suspense.
Okay. So how much time have you spent researching? What kind of access do you have?
Hang out a lot in Holmes County. I started with the Helping Hands quilt shop in Berlin because women are quilting in there, and talked to them, told them what I was doing. They don't really open up to you or trust you at first until you get to know some of them. When they found out I was an Anabaptist, which they all are, that went a long ways with them, a little more trusting that way. And of course, people don't know that the reason the Amish came to America in the first place is they were being terribly persecuted in Europe for that faith that it's a believer baptism that counts, not a baby baptism. They were really questioning the state churches at that time. So that's interesting about their past, and they keep that kind of scary stuff alive in their culture today, even with, they have a book called The Martyr's Mirror, which is very scary etchings in it and things like that.
But you say they keep, because there's etchings that happened at the time of the persecution? People being ducked in the water until they drowned, burned at the stake kind of thing. Really serious persecutions of these people. But that's a best-selling Amish book then, or a common Amish book are these etchings, you're saying?
It's a book that they have in their own German dialect that they keep in their families and teach their kids, so they don't forget their past.
All right.
But they're really a fascinating people. Then my other hat I wear is I've studied and loved British literature for years, and so I write novels mostly set in Tudor England also for a different publisher.
All right. So what's the fascination out of Tudor England? You were partly as an instructor here, that was what your area of study for your degree, right?
It was, and I taught British literature at the senior high school level for 10 years, more than 10 years. And I love Shakespeare, I love Chaucer. I don't know, Queen Elizabeth I, I suppose, is my real hook for the book in doing Tudor England. But there's a book called Mistress of Mourning that just came out here. That's Henry VIII's parents. How did Henry VIII get so screwed up? Read his parents' book, you know. But it's a murder mystery also. That is a mystery. And I also have a British publisher, Random House UK, that they've been making the bestseller lists over there, which is really encouraging to me because for a long time the Brits don't want Americans writing their history. But they're past that somehow. Okay. So
well, it also seems like with globalization, it might be difficult to tell. You know, if you do your research well, who's British, who's American.
The publishers know, but yeah, you're right. The readers might not. Well, they always say in the author bio, though, she lives in Columbus, Ohio, da-da-da.
But if you take on a pseudonym, you can change all that, right? And then adopt a British accent.
Well, I could try.
I
could do that easily, yes.
Yeah, okay. So you've got a book out called, as you said, Upon a Winter's Night.
That will be out in November of 2013. Has a Christmas theme. Now, the way the Amish celebrate Christmas is not the materialistic craziness that we do. But it's always fun to do the contrast between the dominant culture the Amish live in and their enclave culture. That makes for good books.
What's the difference between the dominant and the enclave? The dominant is like nationally, you mean, or?
Oh, the world. The English.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. I thought you meant an Amish.
Not within the Amish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are the things that keep you going back? What new things are you learning about the Amish, having spent so long with them, that there are things that you can continually find new and surprising in it?
I would say each book focuses on a particular aspect of their culture. For example, what are Amish marriages like? What are their weddings like? Their betrothals are very secret the couple announces just a couple of weeks ahead sometimes. They have a marriage season because you don't want to get into the planting season when everybody works.
A marriage season.
They
That's
do.
interesting.
And 3-hour marriage service in German, which to them they're understanding everything. The couple comes in at the end and says their vows. No honeymoon per se. One thing I've had fun with in also Finding Mercy is the fact people don't realize the Amish are snowbirds also.
Oh, right.
There's a place in Sarasota, Florida called Pinecraft that's another Amish enclave. No buggies, but the 3-wheeler bikes, some of them ride around. A couple of Amish restaurants that are great. But they get on buses from Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and go to Florida in the winter.
Okay.
So I set part of the book there. That was fun.
Okay, that's always, I've heard about that before, and it's always struck me as just sort of odd because it's not one of those things that you expect, right?
Absolutely.
You don't expect, and
interesting.
It can't be something. It has to be sort of a relatively new thing, maybe from the 50s or something like that.
I think even maybe later than that.
Where they just decided.
And you'll see them on the beach, and they're going to take their shoes off, but they're going in the water in their clothes. No
Really?
hats, maybe. Yeah. No bathing suits.
That must make some awful laundry.
Yes.
You know, when you think about
salt water especially.
yeah, salt water on all that, because I think that it's sort of heavy cloth. I've always sort of imagined from a distance.
The women's dresses are not really, but you know the way you tell an Amish house. It used to be, are there phone lines going in or not? Now the way you tell really is, are there clothes hanging on the line? Because the women launder almost every day in Ohio and put the clothes outside.
Which is probably pretty awful in the winter. I'm guessing they have to drip dry in the house or something.
They let them freeze solid and then they bring them in.
But how does that get them dry?
I don't know. Then there are, I don't know. Then there are generations, of course, of Amish that do have generator-run modern appliances and things like that. They aren't into outhouses or things like that. Very modern homes, a lot of them.
All right. So I also know your author collection is with the OSU Rare Books and Manuscripts Library. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So tell me about that moment when you were contacted by OSU or whatever, and they said, we want to house your stuff. And what's that process like for an author? It must be kind of thrilling.
Well, it was very thrilling. Actually, I donated a rare Elizabethan book that was in my ownership to Ohio State, and I said, well, I'm an author. And, you're an author? I mean, they were never, you sometimes pictured the world of academia being very snobbish about contemporary writers, but hey, Dickens and Shakespeare were the contemporary writers of their day. But it was very thrilling that they asked for them, and they asked especially if you ever write down just ideas for a novel on a table napkin or something, don't throw it away. Because in this world of, computers, I write 4 or 5 versions of my novel before I print it out for the first time to look at it in black and white. They're losing the thought process of authors, the step-by-step, where do you get your idea thing. So they asked me to keep stuff I would consider throwaway junk also, as well as I do give them manuscripts, all my foreign copies of books, and that kind of thing. The big thrill was, I saw a handout once that said, our new acquisitions, more medieval manuscripts, a Shakespeare folio, Karen Harper's books. What? It was great. That was my moment.
Now, when you go in there, do they make you also put on the gloves when you're going through your own things?
My own things, no.
No,
I haven't gone in to get my own things out, actually.
Okay, because then you could announce, this is mine.
Yeah.
But they don't ask for you said you write 4 copies, 4 versions.
I might.
But it seems like it would be really interesting maybe to them to say, all right, can you freeze a copy at some stage? Can you freeze your first draft? Even if you print it out and
It'd be so
hand
much printing out, but yes, that would be good.
Well, you give it to them, right?
Exactly.
They have a printing shop at OSU, and you say, here are the versions
that
you
would
can
be
print.
good. My husband and I were also 10 years on the committee to rebuild the library.
Right.
When Joe Brannon was there and in charge and everything, and that was very, very exciting to see that come together.
Did you get to see the library as it was being built? Is that one of the perks?
We went in with hard hat tours and things like that. We did, and then saw it finished, of course, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. I took a picture several years ago when it's being built, where you can look right through the library.
Yes.
Right. There's nothing there, so it was a really interesting experience from OSU's side of watching all of the buildings. Well, I really thank you, Karen Harper, for coming here and talking to us again on Writers Talk, and
Thank you,
for
Doug.
keeping us up to date with your books and the OSU special collections and rare manuscripts that I can go into now, put on those cotton gloves and leaf through, as you say, your throwaway things,
Yeah.
the napkins that you've written on,
Yeah.
the party napkins, and you'll have to go to expensive places to get them that are monogrammed, that you can say, look, I was at Tavern on the
Perhaps
Green.
if I would die, they would all become more valuable.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Karen Harper.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
From the Center for the Study and Teaching of Writing at The Ohio State University, this is Writers Talk. I'm Doug Dangler. Keep writing.